Good evening, I'm Camelia and this is KiniNews. The viral message regarding Najib's alleged prison experience has raised many questions. Now DAP wants the government to come clean on the cost of keeping Bosco in the Kajang Prison. 3.5 million ringgit for one inmate seems like a lot. So will the minister in charge respond? DAP Central Executive Committee member Syahredzan Johan has called on Home Minister Hamzah Zainuddin to address allegations that 3.5 million ringgit had been allocated to manage Najib Abdul Razak while he is in Kajang Prison. He claimed that this includes 50,000 ringgit to renovate Najib's prison cell. The merpati message alleged that the rest of the funds are to manage Najib's health and transportation needs. Syahredzan said that under Budget 2022, only 12.4 million ringgit had been allocated to renovate and upgrade prisons in the entire country. Hence, he questioned how 3.5 million ringgit could be allocated to maintain just one prisoner. He said such a large allocation should be used to upgrade prisons as a whole in the country. Like DAP, MCA also has a question. However, it's about why no one is feeling bad for Najib. MCA leader Ti Lian Ker has questioned why there is no sympathy given to Najib Abdul Razak. The Deputy Youth and Sports Minister said this following backlash over allegations that the jailed former Prime Minister is receiving preferential treatment via the healthcare system. Taking to Twitter this morning, T, who is also an MCA Vice President, said he did not understand why there was so much hate against politicians. He said there are some who relentlessly want to see Najib be tortured and suffer in prison. He also questioned where is the culture of forgiveness of the Malays and Islam. The prison department confirmed yesterday that Najib was moved to the CRH on Monday, but assured he would be sent back to Kajang Prison once he is given medical clearance. It is unclear what Najib was suffering from, as the Health Ministry is unable to disclose it due to patient confidentiality. You're probably wondering what Najib is being treated for. However, don't expect a specific answer from the Health Ministry because under the Medical Act, it cannot disclose such information to the public.
The details of former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak's medical treatment are confidential by law. Health Director General Dr. Noor Abdullah said details can only be furnished to the court should a court order be issued. Writing on Facebook, Hisham said the Health Ministry has to ensure confidentiality under the Medical Act. Noor Hisham said Najib was treated at Kuala Lumpur Hospital on September 12 after the former Prime Minister's health condition became unsatisfactory. On September 14, the Kuala Lumpur High Court was informed that Najib was warded due to a blood pressure-related condition and could not proceed with the 1MDB trial. 5 days later, Kuala Lumpur Hospital referred Najib to the Cheras Rehabilitation Hospital. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin explained yesterday that Najib was referred to the CRH in order to receive physiotherapy and to learn how to do it himself. Najib began serving his 12-year jail sentence on August 23rd for abuse of power, criminal breach of trust and money laundering. This was over 42 million ringgit found in his bank accounts. The money originated from state-owned SRC International, formerly a subsidiary of 1MDB. His hospitalization and stay at CRH has generated controversy among those who felt that he was avoiding prison.
During a book launch today, the Sultan of Penang spoke about the dangers of being complacent with corruption. Perak ruler Sultan Nazrin Muizuddin Shah has cautioned the public against being in denial about corruption. He viewed this as a disease and cancerous outbreak within society. He said that corruption works in such a way that it spreads little by little until it becomes paralyzing if not immediately treated. He added, therefore, Malaysians cannot choose to be in denial, conceiving all kinds of justification, performing mental acrobatics to deny the existence of the corruption elephant that is vividly happening in front of our eyes. He also said an honest assessment of corruption should be mandatory. Sultan Nazrin said this at the launch of the book entitled Korupsi dan Kemunafikan dalam Politik Melayu, Perlunya Disegerakan Transformasi Moral Etika by Muhammad Kamal Hassan today. The ruler did not go into specifics in his speech. Another day, another reason from Zahid Hamidi on why the election should be held soon.
Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has accused former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin of attempting to sabotage the Ismail Sabri Yaakob-led administration. The UMNO chief said Muhyiddin is doing this by alleging the government had failed to manage the nation and the economy. He added that Muhyiddin, who is also the National Recovery Council chairperson, should be aware of the negative consequences of his remark on the country's image. Zahid questioned how foreign investors can trust Malaysia as an investment destination when Muhyiddin says something bad about his own government. The Bagan Dato' MP said it was troubling when government leaders pointed fingers at each other over certain issues, making it hard for the country to recover from COVID-19-induced problems. As such, he claimed that Muhyiddin's criticism of the Prime Minister showed that the nation was still plagued by political instability.
Zahid may be UMNO president, but unlike UMNO presidents in the past, he is not Prime Minister. So this means it's not up to Zahid when GE15 is held. It's up to Ismail Sabri. However, his cabinet appears to be split over having GE15 this year.
The cabinet did not come to a consensus on whether the 15th general election should be held this year. This is according to a Utusan Malaysia report citing an anonymous cabinet minister. The Malay Daily said ministers from Bersatu and PAS were among those who objected to having polls this year. The report claimed that these ministers wanted the government to focus on flood management and the economy first. Some ministers were reportedly against holding the election before Budget 2023 was tabled on October 7th. However, cabinet ministers from UMNO were supportive of having the election as soon as possible. According to the federal constitution, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong can dissolve parliament on the advice of the Prime Minister. However, the constitution also states that the Agong can withhold consent. Meanwhile, UMNO Vice President Madzir Khalid said G15 is highly unlikely to be held during the monsoon season this year. According to him, while the election date was among the topics discussed in the cabinet meeting yesterday, the main issue deliberated on was the preparations to face the floods.
Medical professionals may soon be able to report bullying cases and toxic work culture more easily. Here's what KYRI has in store for the Health Ministry.
The performance of government hospital directors nationwide will soon be assessed by their peers and those serving under their command. This was announced by Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin during an interview on Wednesday. He said the Health Ministry is widening the use of its performance evaluation called the 360-degree assessment system.
Di KKM, kita akan memperluaskan sistem penilaian 360 yang sekarang ini hanya terpakai kepada pengurusan tertinggi kepada semua pengarah hospital. Sekarang ini pengarah hospital hanya dinilai oleh pegawai yang dinilai di peringkat pengarah hospital hanya dinilai oleh dia punya superior. Selepas ini mereka akan dinilai bukan hanya oleh superior tetapi juga rakan sebaya, peer dan juga mereka pegawai di bawah kelolaan mereka.
The interview was held in conjunction with KYRI's first anniversary helming the ministry. The Health Ministry also plans to widen the system's use gradually until it covers all levels. KYRI also announced that his ministry has set up a new complaint mechanism that will allow its doctors and all other personnel to safely report their grievances. This is aimed at addressing bullying cases and toxic work culture. The online complaint system called My Help will be available next month.
Another group has come out to disagree with plans to rush GE15 this year. According to G25, the elections can wait.
G25, an NGO comprising former top civil servants, has urged the government to complete its full 5-year term, which ends on July 16, 2023. In a statement, the group said this is because there is no pressing need for the Prime Minister to dissolve the Parliament. It added that any move by the Prime Minister to seek an early dissolution of Parliament will be seen as a capitulation to the demands of the UMNO leaders for their own self-interests. While the group noted there is political instability in the country as a result of the Sheraton move, it said now is not the time to deal with it. G25 said Putrajaya should instead spend the remaining few months of the parliament term discussing and debating Budget 2023 in detail. G25 further urged more time to be given to youth political movements to prepare their campaigns now that 18-year-olds are eligible to vote.
Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob will lead Malaysia's delegation to the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly (UNGA) in New York from 22nd to 25th September 2022, accompanied by Minister of Foreign Affairs Saifuddin Abdullah and senior government officials. During the general debate, which will be held on 23rd September, Ismail Sabri will be covering some of the global challenges topics, including post-pandemic, climate change, the global conflicts in Ukraine, Palestine and Myanmar, the world family concept, and many more. He will deliver Malaysia's national statement in our national language. The Prime Minister is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with various countries, including the President of Palestine and the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, to improve understanding of pertinent regional and global concerns. On September 24th, Ismail Sabri is scheduled to meet with the UN Secretary General and host a Keluarga Malaysia dinner for the Malaysian diaspora in New York. Minister of Foreign Affairs Saifuddin Abdullah, who has now arrived in New York, will be attending the meeting with National Unity Government and National Unity Consultative Council of Myanmar, a side event hosted by Bangladesh regarding Rohingya in Myanmar, ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting with Malaysian youth delegates, and several bilateral meetings with his counterparts to discuss various bilateral, regional, and international issues of mutual interest.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.